What terms do you describe divergent waters where nutrients are brought up to the surface, increase biological productivity? What happens is, as the surface winds, say you had a land feature here, as they blow off of the coast and drive that surface water away, well, it's not going to leave an empty void here, and you actually have bottom water that comes up to the surface. This can bring nutrients from the bottom, because generally the bioproductivity is at the top of where the sunlight is, and that's where the base of the food chain is. Your phytoplankton's up there. But as phytoplankton or zooplankton, as they die, they sink down to the bottom of the ocean, and those nutrients are removed from the top of the ocean. But what happens is, as surface waters are driven away from the land by the wind, you have upwelling that brings those nutrients back up to the surface. And so in these areas where you have rising seawater, there's going to be a large amount of bioproductivity there, because it's got the sunlight at the surface that those phytoplankton need. But also the nutrients that might be depleted elsewhere in the ocean, they get brought back up to the surface. So large amount of bioproductivity. The equator does the same thing. Here's your equator line. What happens is you have the northeast trade winds coming out of the north and the southeast trade winds in the southern hemisphere. Water diverges, just like the Coriolis effect, to the right in the northern hemisphere and to the left in the southern hemisphere. And because we have that divergence of water moving away from the equator, well, it's just like over here, as we're pulling the water away, and instead of leaving an empty spot there, well, we're pulling the water away from the equator. There would be an empty spot, but water rises up from deep down. So we do have upwelling at the equator as well. Very warm temperatures. You're bringing the nutrients back up to the surface. Lots of biological activity going on there at the surface. And so upwelling, nice cool bottom waters, bringing those nutrients back up to the surface at the equator, or if the winds are blowing correctly near continental coastlines as well.